What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 recent returns that I got back in the mail and profile each one of those individuals that signed autographs for me. So let me jump right into this first one. And I think you guys are going to like this episode because these are some really old ballplayer returns from the golden era of baseball. And the first one is a return on 1960 Topps ×2 from left-handed pitcher Carl Mathias on 2 of 2. So let me tell you about Carl Mathias and his career in baseball. Mathias signed with the Cleveland Indians in 1955 after graduating from Ollie Valley High School in Pennsylvania. He toiled his way through the minor leagues for the Indians, and he was recalled from AAA mid-season of 1960, and they used him in 7 games, all in relief, where he posted a 0-1 win-loss record with no saves through September 26th. Then, in December of that year in 1960, he was selected by the newly created expansion edition of the Washington Senators with the 10th overall pick in the expansion draft. Mathias appeared in 4 games for the 1961 Senators mid-year after being called up to AAA, starting in 3 of them. His first start on June 8th against the Boston Red Sox was at Fenway Park was especially memorable. He pitched into the 9th inning and left the game with Washington ahead 12-7 with 2 outs. So all they needed was 1 out, okay? Well, Mathias put himself in trouble loading the bases, and relief pitcher Dave Sisler came in to get that final out, where he proceeded to issue a pair of walks to score 2 of those Boston runs. Then, Sisler surrendered a walk-off grand slam to Jim Pagliariani, giving the Red Sox a 13-12 win. Mathias did not get a decision, but lost the opportunity to register his first MLB win. In his follow-up start on June 24th, he took the loss, the second of his career. He only made 2 more appearances before returning to the minor leagues for the remainder of his pro career. So overall in his pro career, he had a 0-win and 2-loss record with an ERA of over 7. So unfortunately, this guy didn't get a chance to play. So after his stint with the Washington Senators, they let him go, and he actually signed on with the expansion era New York Mets. And despite as bad as the New York Mets were after the expansion era, he did not get a chance to crack the major league lineup with the Mets. And after spending the 63 and 64 season primarily in AAA for the Mets, he decided to retire from baseball altogether. So, can you imagine, on your first, you're 1 out away from having your first major league win, and you load the bases, and you're up, by the sizable lead that they had, and then they bring in a closer to get 1 out, and he fails to do his job, and therefore you get the no decision, and that was the only opportunity in your entire career to get a win. So, kind of a unique story. I really thought you guys would enjoy that story. That's why I shared it with you. Definitely tell me what you think in the comments below. It's unfortunate that Mr. Mathias didn't get a major league win, but at least he got to the major leagues. So we'll move on to the next one. All right, so this next one is postmarked from North Carolina, and it is a return from former Cleveland Indian teammate, actually, of Carl Mathias, Bill Dailey, on 2 of 3, and I don't know if he didn't see the 3rd card or just 2's the limit or whatever. He just decided to sign 2 of them, which is fine. That's better than not getting them back. And let me tell you about Bill Dailey and his career in baseball. Like I said, he was Carl Mathias' teammate, actually, with the Indians while he was in the minor leagues and the majors. Dailey signed in 1953 as a minor league free agent out of high school with the Cleveland Indians organization. His first year in Class C ball, he actually posted a 6-1 record in 12 starts for the Indians' Class C affiliate. Well, Bill would work his way up through the minor leagues, and that's the nice way of putting it. It would take him until 1961 almost 9 seasons before he would get his true call to the major leagues with the Cleveland Indians. Well, in that 1961 season, he actually responded with a sparkling .95 ERA in 12 games for the Indians pitching staff, appearing in 19 innings pitched. Well, despite this, he did make the major league roster the following year, but he spent the bulk of the 1962 season in AAA for the Indians. And I don't know if they were trying to convert him to a starter, because he started 16 games for the Indians in 62 in AAA and posted a 10-4 record and a 3.14 ERA. Well, when he got to the majors that year in 62, he appeared in 27 games and had a 3.59 ERA, posting a 2-2 win-loss record, which was very solid. So going into 1963, Bill was planning on being part of the Cleveland Indians pitching staff in the major leagues, and they traded him right at the last minute to the Minnesota Twins for cash. Well, he responded quite significantly for the Twins in 1963, as he appeared in 66 games, posting a 1.99 ERA, posting a 6-3 win-loss record. So, I mean, that's a heck of a season. 6-3, 1.99 ERA in 66 appearances, and 108 innings pitched, striking out 72 in those innings. So I'm gonna put those stats up just for you here. You know, I had them up on the screen there for you. What a year! Wow. Well, despite this huge success in 1963, he started the season in 1964 with the team, and he appeared in just 14 games, which was not normal with a guy that just pitched in 66 the year before. But his record slipped to 1-2, and his ERA was 8.22. So, looking at this, you know, from an outside perspective looking in, the Minnesota Twins used him, and he probably injured himself in 1963, tried to come in 1964 and just did not have the magic that he did in the 63 season. And after the 64 season, that was it for Bill Dailey. So he retired after that horrendous, I don't want to say horrendous, he retired after that lackluster 1964 season, after he sustained a rotator cuff injury in 64 and just could not come back from it. In his major league career, he appeared in 119 games, posted a 10-7 win-loss record, 22 saves, and an overall 2.76 earned run average, striking out 109 batters in 185 2-3 innings pitched, and only 59 walks. So, if it weren't for that pesky rotator cuff injury, this guy might have went down as one of the best relievers in baseball in the history of the 1960s. So, you can only imagine what could have been if he wouldn't have hurt his arm after that 63 season. Or during the 64 season, I should say. So, thank you, Mr. Dailey. I'm glad to add your autograph to my collection, and we'll move on to the final one. Alright, so this final one, I'm really excited to share with you, because I've been sitting on this one for a few years, to be honest with you. And not as a return, but to get it out to this individual. And that is completing my 1967 Rookie Stars Senators card, already signed by Joe Coleman, now completed by Tim Cullen, the infielder. And I got Mr. Cullen to sign 2 more cards as well, so a total of 3 of 3 in this success. So let me tell you about Tim Cullen and his career in baseball. A star baseball and basketball player at Junipero Serra High School in San Mateo, California, Cullen was selected an All-Cal infielder twice, an All-Cal guard as a basketball player as a senior. Later, he was a 2-sport star at Santa Clara University and played in the College World Series. Originally signed by the Boston Red Sox as an amateur free agent in '64, Cullen debuted with the Senators in 1966. A Topps Rookie All-Star in his first season, he appeared in the 1972 World Series as an infielder with Oakland. In his career, Cullen was a competent infielder with good instincts and an avid student of the game, but he struggled as a batter. Even when he hit in the low 200s, Cullen's glove was enough to get him a considerable playing time. He was an above-average Major League second baseman and adequate shortstop and third baseman as well. So basically a utility guy. Nevertheless, a rare feat earned him a place in the baseball record books. In February 1968, Cullen was sent to the White Sox, a deal for, among others, shortstop Ron Hansen. In a curious movement, he was then shipped back mid-season to Washington for Hansen, making them the only two players in MLB history to be traded for one another twice in the same season. So, talk about an ironic trade. I don't know the details of that. I've featured Ron Hansen before on my channel, but I agree. I've never heard of the same two players being traded for each other twice. So Tim Cullen went to the White Sox and then was sent back from the White Sox for the same player that they traded for. So in his career, he had a lifetime batting average of 220, 9 home runs and 134 RBIs. He played for the Washington Senators parts of multiple seasons from 1966 to 71. Again, that 1968 season, he split time with the White Sox and the Senators. And after the 71 season, he, as I mentioned, he went on to play one season with the Oakland A's, back in his home state of California. Well, after he retired as a player, this is according to his Wikipedia page, he worked for the Fresno Grizzlies, the minor league affiliate at the time of the San Francisco Giants. So I don't know if Mr. Cullen is still working in baseball. He is 80 years old as of me shooting this video. But I think that's a pretty cool thing that after he retired, from the game, he got to work as an executive in minor league baseball. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit more about a couple players that you may not have heard of before. Like I said, Bill Dailey probably had one of the best seasons in the history of baseball, to be honest with you. And a lot of people don't realize that because the following year, his career was all but over because of his injury. I'm very happy to get this dual Senators card signed by Tim Cullen. Like I said, I've had Joe Coleman. I've been sitting on that for years, and I finally said, you know what, I'm going to send it to Tim and ask him to sign it. So, hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned a little bit more about some very obscure players from the 1960s. I look forward to your comments below, and as always, happy collecting.